Welcome back to the For Creators Podcast. I'm your host, Lily, and I am so excited for this episode. Oh my gosh, we're in 2026. I'm filming this in 2025, so that's actually crazy. I love the way time works. It's so fun. So hi from the past. I hope that you're doing good, and I can't wait to dive into today's episode. Now buckle in. If you're new to For Creators, welcome. This is the space for content creators to build, grow, and learn everything there is to content creation, and not just the fun videos or pictures or how to secure brand deals, but like the actual things that matter. So like how to prevent burnout, how to build content systems that actually work, how to raise your rates without feeling guilty, what brands are looking for, different quarters, and when you should be pitching to what companies, things like that. The nitty-gritty that I feel like we don't talk about as much on socials. Everything is really surface level, but this podcast is all about diving deep with no fluff. So let's jump right into it. Today's episode is all about the creative identity shift you need to have before you create anything, before you plan anything, before you schedule anything. This needs to happen first before you do anything moving forward. And I thought this was a fitting topic because it's 2026. It's the new year. Everybody has their New Year's resolutions. So here's a resolution for you if you haven't already added this one to your list. This is the one I want you to really take to heart. Most creators are planning like the person they were last year. So it's no wonder that your new plans stop working come February, if you even get that far. And I don't mean to call you out. Absolutely not. Listen, I am very guilty of setting my New Year's resolutions, being like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to work out 5 times a week. I'm going to eat only food that I cook in the house. And then like 10 days in, it's like, all right, it's a wrap. I get it. I've been there, done that. So this is something that I think is going to help shift and actually make your resolutions stick for this new year. Essentially, if your identity doesn't shift, then your plan will also never shift. How do you want to change something, but you're actually not changing yourself? You can't just say, I'm going to do something and then not change any other aspect about your life and expect you to want to keep up with it. That's just not how it works. That's not how our brains are wired, I promise. I've done extensive research on this. I've tested theories on myself, and it is true. I want to first talk about what actually holds creators back. And there's a specific identity gaps that we have to cover, and that's going to kind of explain what I'm trying to get at in today's episode. Now, we could substitute creators for literally just people in this episode. What is holding everyone back is the honest question. This is the identity gap that I feel nobody talks about. Creators focus on tools instead of self-concepts. And I'm guilty of this too, but everybody likes to focus on the tools that they need to be able to do what they want to do so that way they can feel a certain type of way. So for example, creators want to make sure that they have the newest camera or the newest microphone or, the newest software to be able to edit their content or what's hot and trending. The Canon GX7 is the perfect example. Everybody, and I mean everybody, either wanted that camera, got that camera, or still wants that camera at some point, and was literally guilty of this up until, I want to say probably like 2 years ago, okay? I get it. But what we need to actually focus on is the concept of self. So why do you think that you need these new equipments, these new apps, these new software, whatever it is? Why do you feel that you need this? Why can't you just create with what you already have? You can. You absolutely can. Here's another one. You want paid brand deals, but then you see yourself as somebody like when a brand does reach out that, it's a gamble on whether or not, your content's going to be good or they're going to like you or no. And a big one that I see play out online is that you want to be yourself. You want to show your personality, but you're still identifying as someone who needs to be perfect. Well, a surprise, perfection doesn't exist. I have a whole episode about that. It's one of my first episodes, actually. I'll link it below if you want to check it out, but perfection does not exist. I'm so sorry to break it to you. One thing I've really learned is that your content is going to flow with your identity, not the other way around. You can't force yourself into doing something that's not you, because then it's not going to come across as authentic. And we all know those creators. Hey, I'm guilty of it sometimes, who post something and you're like, that's a little out of the norm. Like, it's kind of weird, Like, you can't make your content based off of nothing. Your content has to come from somewhere. It's not that you can base your identity off of your content. You base your content off of your identity. I want you to pause and think about that. Because this framework, this concept, this way of thinking, is going to set us up moving forward through the episode. Now, another shift that needs to happen, in my opinion, to make 2026 your year as a creator is thinking about you being a creator and your content persona as a character. She's a character, he's a character, they're a character, and you are writing them. Think about that. You are drafting the creator, the person that you want to see show up in your content. And I think that is such like a mindset shift because it kind of takes it off of yourself and it even though it's still you, it puts it into a different perspective that I think is really powerful. I think for me personally, everybody has an era. Every creator has like a certain era of what's trending, what they're doing, what's hot, what's not. We all go through it. So the shift that you have to make to have success, it has to start from within you because then from within, it'll shine out. I like to ask myself, what is the energy that I want to step into, not what is the to-do list that I have to do. When you step into that energy, whether it's positive, it's neutral, it kind of shifts the way that you go into something. Like when you have a big event, you don't listen to sad music on the way to the event because that's not going to hype you up for the event. You're going to listen to something that's going to pump you up, something that's going to make you feel good, something that's going to make you happy. That's what you listen to. So you need to basically apply the same principles to you as a creator creating content. Then you need to take that. You need to build out this character and think, how does she act? How is she going to do this? How is she going to go about life? How does she respond to opportunities? If you build out this character to be the best version of yourself, eventually you'll get there. For me personally, my character is somebody who books content shoots. Like today, I'm sitting in a studio and I am just pouring my heart out to the camera because I love doing this. I love being able to be here for you guys and give you this information and teach, even if nobody ends up watching it. I don't care. I'm doing this for me. And in doing it for me, I'm trying to help other people. Another one is she answers her emails every day. I struggle with it a lot. Sometimes I get really overwhelmed with emails. I don't want to answer them, and so I'll leave them for like a day or two. It's not nice. It's not great, okay? I get it. So she answers her emails consistently. That is the persona I'm building out. And so, to think, okay, what would she do? And then you do it. That's what I'm trying to get at here. I think that shift is really powerful, especially going into 2026. I think having that outlook of this would be really, really strong to move forward and move into the year and last through the year with this resolution instead of it just falling off in like February, Another thing I have to say is behavior. Your behavior shift can change everything. And we know this. This isn't new information. I want you, instead of to build out, massive resolutions, like, just crazy things that are achievable and attainable, but they might be a little bit far-fetched. I want you to break it down into smaller, more definitely attainable pieces. And we can apply this to our character that we're building. So instead of her, creating a massive resolution, how about she creates 3 micro resolutions? I think you'll get more growth. It's more approachable. It's more attainable. And there's less of a barrier to entry. It's less intimidating to do that rather than just have one big goal that you have to get. And that's the only thing you're working towards. Not to say not to have one big goal, but I'm saying you should also, if you have one big goal, let's also have 3, smaller goals, okay? Let the character figure out 3 different identity shifts that can happen that can build out, and be a part of the one big resolution going on. So the character is somebody who finishes things. You being the character, you are somebody who finishes things. The character, you show up like nobody's watching. You could go from there. You can pick out what you want. You really have to use your imagination, I think, when doing this, but it's still something that can really help you if you implicate it, if you use it right. Other things that can help is like building out identity habits. The purpose of this episode is to teach you that if you want real change, you have to shift the person you are now to be able to get that. And you can do small examples, at least 10 minutes of editing every day, at least 2 times a week, picking up the camera to film something, always answering your emails, even if, you're feeling anxious about it instead of just ghosting the emails. But things like that, that's what I mean. And then from there, you can create a boundary. So no more inspo scrolling before creating content, or, no social media an hour and a half before bed, or no more of, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, but actually following through and doing it. If your identity has no boundaries, then your creativity has no home. Think about that right now. That is crazy. I think at the end of the day, we're all building a creator, we're all building who we are as creators. And that's okay. It's a process. It's not just something that's immediately going to come to you, but you have to put in the work, which potentially means, shifting who you are, your identity, who you say you are versus what you actually do. It's very important. I have a little prompt for you. These are 3 questions that I want you to ask yourself in the new year. The first one is, who am I becoming in this era of my creator journey? Who do I want to become? The next question is, what small actions are going to prove that? So what things are you going to do that's going to help prove your new identity? And the third one is, what old version of me needs to retire to be able to welcome in this new identity so that she can take the mic now because the old way of doing things wasn't getting it done the way it needed. So that's what I've got for today. I want to make sure that you're able to absorb this information. So please re-listen to this episode if you think it was helpful. Share this episode with somebody who's also a creator or wants to be a creator or who might need to work on, creating that dream identity, creating that, version of yourself that's going to do everything that you want to do and more. I want you to remember that you don't need a new plan. You need a new identity that's going to help make the plan just feel obvious, that there's no other choice but this plan. Give yourself no other option if this is exactly the dream life that you want. I also want this to be the year that you stop planning from fear and just start creating from yourself, creating from your identity, creating from the authenticity that runs through your veins. That's what I want for you this year. So thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to hit that follow button so that way you guys are notified when the podcast drops. And I would love to see you over on my socials. It's For Creators by Lily on all major platforms. I'll also make sure to link it down below. And like I said, you've got this. You are exactly the person that you want to be. Now you just have to make these small shifts, these small identity tweaks, and I absolutely know that we, because this is a team effort here, are going to achieve everything that we wanted and more year ahead. Thanks so much for your time. I greatly appreciate you, and I hope that you have a phenomenal new year. Bye.